Welcome back to Web3 Daily Digest, your daily dice of all things Web3.
Daily indeed.
Today we're diving deep into a pool of pretty interesting stories from decentralized social media platforms raising millions
Always exciting.
to AI stepping up in DeFi security.
Lots to unpack.
Let's get started.
Sounds good.
First up, Tinio Protocol. They've secured $3 million to create a DePIN.
A DePIN.
Yeah, a decentralized physical infrastructure network for social media data.
Fascinating concept.
What makes this project stand out in the crowded world of Web3?
Well, for one, DePINs themselves are pretty unique.
How so?
They use physical assets, like hard drive servers,
Oh, so it's like...
to create a truly decentralized network.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Applying that to social media data directly challenges those data silos.
The ones that...
giants like Facebook and Twitter have built up.
Interesting. So what does this mean for users practically? We hear a lot about data ownership,
Right.
but what does that actually look like in this context?
Imagine having granular control over your data.
Like really granular.
Instead of platforms deciding how your information is used.
And monetized.
Exactly. You could choose what to share.
With whom?
And even potentially profit from it directly.
Wow, that's...
It's a fundamental shift in power.
Yeah, it is. But I do wonder about the technical challenges
Sure.
of scaling a network like this to accommodate millions
Yeah, even billions.
of users.
It's a valid concern for sure, one that Teneo will need to address head-on for widespread adoption.
Right, building that robust and user-friendly infrastructure.
That can handle the demands of a global social media platform is no small feat.
For sure. Now switching gears to stablecoins.
Okay.
They're seeing a surge of activity.
Definitely.
With Plasma securing a massive $24 million
24 million?
to develop a blockchain specifically for stablecoins.
Interesting.
What's driving this focused approach, and could it disrupt the broader financial landscape?
Well, what's really intriguing here is the involvement of major players like Bitfinex and Flow traders.
Those are big names.
Their backing goes beyond just simple investment.
Really?
It signals a belief that stablecoins are going to play a much larger role in global finance.
Okay, but we've seen stablecoin projects before.
Right.
What makes Plasma's blockchain potentially different? Could this push stablecoins from a niche concept into everyday transactions?
Well, their focus on building a purpose-built blockchain for stablecoins
Okay.
could lead to some big improvements
What?
in transaction speed, security, and cost-effectiveness.
And those are?
Crucial factors for mainstream adoption, particularly for things like cross-border payments and microtransactions.
It makes you wonder if traditional financial institutions are starting to see the potential of stablecoins.
Absolutely. The lines between traditional finance and DeFi are getting blurrier, and this could be a tipping point
Some might see it as a challenge,
to their existing models,
but others...
will likely see it as an avenue for innovation and expansion.
Now let's talk about DeFi security.
Okay.
It's an area that always needs attention. Drosera just secured $3.25 million.
To develop AI-driven tools for proactively detecting threats on the Ethereum network.
This sounds promising, but how does AI actually change the game in security?
Instead of waiting to react after an exploit,
Right.
Drosera's approach aims to identify and neutralize threats before they cause damage.
So like,
Imagine an AI constantly scrutinizing smart contracts looking for vulnerabilities that humans might miss.
that sounds impressive.
Right.
But how does the system tell the difference between legitimate code and a potential threat?
It comes down to training data.
Ah.
They train the AI on massive data sets of both secure and vulnerable code.
So it learns to recognize.
Exactly. Patterns learns from past exploits
We adapt.
to new attack vectors.
So it's picking up on those subtle nuances.
The red flag that might indicate malicious intent, even if the code seems fine on the surface.
It's like having a specialized security expert.
With the ability to analyze code at a scale and speed that humans just can't match.
And that could be a game changer.
A significant step towards a more secure and resilient DeFi ecosystem.
Okay, let's move on to the Polkadot ecosystem.
All right.
The Web3 Foundation has opened applications for the second cohort of their Decentralized WIDES program.
Focusing on empowering validators within the network.
What stood out to you from their announcement?
Their iterative approach.
Meaning,
They've taken feedback from the first cohort and made changes.
which
A
suggests...
deeper understanding of what a truly decentralized and robust network needs.
Could you give an example of these changes and what they tell us about the Web3 Foundation's vision for Polkadot?
Sure, one key change is their approach to nominations.
Okay.
Instead of rotating nominations all the time,
Right.
they're prioritizing stability
So they'll only intervene.
if big issues come up.
This seems to signal a shift.
From constant competition to a more collaborative and long-term validator community.
That's a really interesting nuance.
Right.
It suggests that a healthy ecosystem needs validators to work together.
Not just fight for individual rewards.
They're also removing the cap on how many cohorts a validator can participate in.
allowing high-performing validators to contribute for longer periods.
For sizing.
Consistent performance, reliability, and commitment to the network's success.
These updates really highlight the Web3 Foundation's dedication
To refining their approach and building a truly decentralized and resilient network.
It shows that building a thriving, decentralized ecosystem is a process.
One that requires careful consideration, adaptation, and a willingness to learn from the past.
Now for some market buzz.
Hit me.
BlockDAG is making waves with a pre-sale nearing $200 million,
Wow.
positioning them as a contender against Hedera and Tonecoin.
Bold move.
What's attracting all this attention and investment?
Well, while pre-sales should always be approached carefully,
Of course.
the sheer volume of investment suggests they've tapped into a demand for something new.
They're claiming faster transaction speeds and lower fees compared to existing blockchains.
And that's likely driving the excitement.
But claiming those things is one thing, delivering is another. What are the technical hurdles they need to overcome to live up to the hype?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
They need to prove their tech can handle real-world transaction volumes, maintain security, and adapt to the evolving blockchain landscape.
It'll be interesting to see how they navigate these challenges.
For sure.
Their success or failure could offer some valuable insights into the blockchain market.
Absolutely a reminder that innovation in Web3 is constant, and the race to build the next big thing is far from over.
Every day brings new developments, challenges, and possibilities.
That's the beauty of it.
We'll be keeping a close eye on all of these projects and leave you with one final thought before we move on to part 2.
It really does feel like there's just so much investment pouring into Web3 right now.
It's exciting to see.
It speaks volumes about the potential people see in this space.
Like you said, BlockDAG's pre-sale is one example,
Yeah.
but even established ecosystems like Polkadot are seeing some really significant developments.
Right.
Let's actually circle back to the Polkadot ecosystem for a second
Okay.
and delve a bit deeper into the Web3 Foundation's decentralized nodes program.
Their commitment to constantly refining and adapting is really evident in the updates they've made.
For this second cohort.
Exactly.
The changes to the nomination process are particularly interesting.
Yeah, by prioritizing stability and long-term contribution.
They're really fostering a different kind of validator community.
One that values collaboration and a shared commitment to the network's success.
So it's less about validators constantly competing
For nominations and rewards.
and more about a sort of holistic approach.
Where validators see themselves as integral parts of a larger ecosystem.
Exactly, and that aligns with a broader trend we're seeing in Web3.
Towards building these sustainable and community-driven ecosystem.
It's not just about individual gains anymore.
It's about making sure the entire network is healthy and can last for the long haul.
They've also removed that limit,
On how many cohorts a validator can participate in.
which shows they're looking for validators who are dedicated.
Who are in it for the long game, not just a quick profit.
By rewarding consistency and dedication.
They're incentivizing validators to really invest in their infrastructure, security, and knowledge.
Which ultimately makes the entire network stronger.
Right.
These changes paint a very clear picture of the Web3 Foundation's commitment to building a truly decentralized and resilient Polkadot network.
They're not just talking the talk.
They're walking the walk.
They're constantly iterating and adapting based on what they learn.
It's refreshing.
In a space that often seems to prioritize hype over substance.
Yeah, their focus on sustainability and community building is a very positive sign.
For the future of Polkadot.
Now let's shift gears back to DeFi security for a bit.
Okay.
And explore the potential impact of Jazura's AI-powered threat detection system.
You mentioned earlier that its effectiveness really hinges on how sophisticated the AI is, and that's absolutely true. The key is training it on a huge and diverse data set.
One that includes both secure and vulnerable code.
So it can develop a deep understanding of what makes a legitimate smart contract.
And what might be a red flag.
It's not just about finding obvious errors.
It's about recognizing those subtle patterns and anomalies.
That could point to a potential exploit.
The AI needs to learn from past exploits,
Adapt to new attack vectors, and constantly evolve to stay ahead of those hackers.
which are becoming more and more sophisticated.
Right.
So does this mean the AI's training data needs to be constantly updated?
As new vulnerabilities are discovered and new attack methods emerge?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This isn't a one-and-done solution.
It's an ongoing process.
Of refining and improving. The AI needs to be dynamic.
Able to learn and adapt.
To the ever-changing landscape of DeFi security.
It sounds like a never-ending race.
Between the developers building these security tools and the hackers trying to break them.
In a way it is, But that's cybersecurity in any field, right?
As systems become more complex and interconnected.
The need for strong and adaptable security just becomes more critical,
And in DeFi,
where billions of dollars are at stake.
the stakes are even higher,
Projects like Trusora
with their focus on proactive security.
are essential for building trust in this ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Speaking of trust, let's go back to stablecoins
Okay.
and Plasma's plan to build a dedicated blockchain for them.
You mentioned that this approach could really improve transaction speeds, security, and cost effectiveness.
Right.
And that's because by focusing only on stablecoins,
They can really optimize their blockchain for the specific needs of these assets.
it could lead to a platform that's significantly faster, more secure, and more efficient,
Than the blockchains we have now.
which handle a much wider range of cryptocurrencies.
But doesn't this create a kind of siloed ecosystem?
It's a good question. How will this dedicated blockchain interact with other blockchains in the wider financial system?
Right.
That's going to be key to Plasma's success.
They'll need to figure out interoperability,
To allow for seamless transfers of value between their blockchain and other platforms.
so they can't just build a better mousetrap.
They need to make sure it works with everything else that's already out there.
Exactly. The real potential of stablecoins is in their ability to bridge that gap.
Between the old financial system and the new world of Web3.
And to do that, you need interoperability.
It's essential.
This brings us back to the question of how stablecoins might change the financial landscape.
We've seen some pushback from traditional institutions.
But are those attitudes changing?
Well, the fact that Bitfinex and Flow traders are involved in Plasma's funding round,
Suggests that at least some institutions are starting to see the potential
they understand the opportunity.
to use these digital assets for faster, cheaper, and more efficient transactions.
Right.
It seems like the line between traditional finance and DeFi is getting blurrier by the day.
It really does.
Are we seeing a merging of these two worlds?
Or will they stay separate but connected?
It's a question that's still unfolding,
It's possible we'll see a hybrid model emerge.
where traditional institutions adopt some elements of DeFi,
Like stablecoins and decentralized exchanges.
but keep parts of their existing infrastructure.
It's definitely an exciting time to be watching all of this unfold.
The future of finance is being written right now.
And blockchain technology is playing a big role.
Now let's turn our attention back to decentralized social media
Right.
and the challenges and opportunities facing projects like Teneo Protocol.
They've raised a lot of money to be like a depend for social media data.
But can they really take on the giants like Facebook and Twitter?
It's a David and Goliath situation for sure.
Those established platforms have so much power.
Resources users a massive head start.
But Teneo is tapping into a growing desire.
For more control over data and a more equitable social media experience.
People are waking up to how their data is being used.
And they're looking for alternatives.
That put them in control.
Exactly. Teneo's vision of a decentralized platform where users own their data is appealing.
But can they actually build it?
Can they make it user-friendly and engaging enough to attract a large user base?
It's not enough to just be different.
They need to be better.
They need to create an experience that pulls people away from what they're used to.
Right.
They have to overcome the technical challenges.
Like scalability and interoperability.
And address all the concerns around privacy, security, and content moderation.
It's a lot to handle.
But if they could do it,
It could change everything.
the future of social media could look very different.
It's a good reminder that innovation often comes from challenging the status quo.
And finding new solutions to old problems.
Teneo's journey will be a valuable case study.
In the evolution of social media.
For sure.
Okay, for our final topic in this part, let's revisit Blackdag.
That impressive pre-sale.
Almost $200 million raised
Positioning them as a real contender.
against Hedera and Tonguecoin.
It's too early to say if they'll live up to the hype.
But their success in attracting that level of investment,
Shows the demand for new blockchain solutions.
their claims of superior speed and scalability have definitely caught people's attention.
But what's the tech behind those claims?
Right.
Well, Blockdag uses a different kind of consensus mechanism.
It's called a directed acyclic graph,
for DAG.
which is different from a traditional blockchain.
This allows for much faster transaction processing,
Increased throughput.
potentially solving some of the scalability problems that other blockchains have struggled with.
So instead of a linear chain of blocks,
Blockdag uses a more complex network.
which allows for parallel processing,
That could be a real breakthrough for scalability.
especially as the demand for blockchain applications keeps growing.
Absolutely. But the DAG approach has its own challenges, making sure it's secure and maintaining consensus in a more complex environment.
It's a reminder that blockchain innovation
Is about finding a balance
between pushing the limits of what's possible.
while still ensuring security, stability, and reliability.
It's what makes this space so fascinating.
The constant experimentation, the drive to solve problems, and the potential to disrupt entire industries.
It's a mix of excitement and uncertainty.
Definitely.
We'll be watching Blockdag closely.
as they move from the pre-sales to actually building their platform
Their journey will be very insightful.
for the entire blockchain space.
And that brings us to the end of part 2. Welcome back to Web3 Daily Digest. We've covered a lot of ground today, from decentralized social media and stablecoin blockchains to AI-powered security and the evolution of ecosystems like Polkadot.
It's remarkable how quickly things move in Web3. Every day seems to bring new breakthrough, new challenges, new possibilities. It's a space that never stands still.
It's been a whirlwind tour for sure. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the bigger picture. Where do you see the greatest potential for Web3 in the coming year?
That's a tough one to answer. Web3 is still relatively young. It's hard to predict with absolute certainty which areas will take off.
And that's part of the excitement, right? The unknown, the potential for disruption, the possibility of reshaping entire industries.
Absolutely, there's so much potential. If I had to pick one area that I'm particularly enthusiastic about, it would be the intersection of Web3 and artificial intelligence.
The merging of two transformative technologies. We touched on this earlier with Trotera's AI-powered security solutions, but the applications go far beyond that.
Imagine AI-powered DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations capable of managing complex tasks, making decisions based on real-time data, and evolving without human intervention.
It sounds almost like science fiction organizations running themselves, guided by the collective intelligence of their members and the power of AI.
It might sound futuristic that the pieces are already falling into place. We have the decentralized and transparent nature of blockchain and the rapidly advancing capabilities of AI.
So you envision a future where these technologies work together, leading to new forms of organization, new ways of working, new possibilities for innovation.
Exactly. And it's not just about organizations either. Think about AI tools that could help us navigate the complexities of Web3, personalize our online experiences, empower us to create and monetize content in entirely new ways.
It's a lot to wrap your head around. Are we talking about a future where AI guides us through the Web3 universe, helping us make sense of this vast and rapidly evolving landscape?
In a sense, yes. But it's not about replacing human involvement. It's about empowering individuals with the tools and knowledge they need to thrive in a decentralized world.
It's a future filled with both incredible promise and potential pitfalls. How do we ensure that these technologies are developed and used ethically and responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question. As we embrace the transformative power of Web3 and AI, we need to be mindful of the risks and make sure these technologies are used for good.
It's a call for collective responsibility, for collaboration between developers, policymakers, and the community to shape a future that benefits all of humanity.
Absolutely. The future of Web3 is being written right now, and we all have a role to play in ensuring it's a future we can be proud of.
And to our listeners, we leave you with this thought. As you explore the world of Web3, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future is being built today, and your voice matters.
Until next time, keep exploring the ever-evolving landscape of Web3. Remember, the only constant is change.